This is no ordinary moment. This is the turning point in history where India has given a clear message to the US. If friendship cannot be based on equality, then we do not need you. The US, which was India's largest trading partner until yesterday, is imposing new tariffs against it today, thinking that India will bow down. No, sir. This is the new India. This India is not one that silently submits. This India responds with a wink. Trump imposed a 25% tariff on India. The reason? India's purchase of oil from Russia, purchase of weapons, showing independence. But what did India do? Neither apologized, nor tried to bend. Instead, it said, we will buy oil from where we can get it cheaply and in our own interest. This was not an emotional decision. It was wisdom, self-restraint, national interest. His relations with Russia are not just about friendship. It is a strategic investment. India told America that we are not an indebted nation. We are the nation that has the 5th largest economy in the world, which reaches the moon in space and silences enemies on Earth at the diplomatic table. And then China, which we had border disputes. But India maintained a balance there too. Where necessary, we traded wool. Where there was a question of restraint, we showed a red eye. Today, India is doing $65 billion in trade with Russia, $127 billion with China, and $131 billion with America. But the difference is, now decisions are not made from the White House, but from Rajpath in Delhi. This is the era of new diplomacy, where India is neither in anyone's camp, nor in anyone's pocket. We are neither part of NATO, nor a puppet of China. We are only in India's camp. This is the journey of Vishuguru, where India is telling the whole world, we want friendship with the world. Not slavery. And friends, what does this moment teach you? That when you recognize your worth, when you stand up for your interests, then the world tries not to bend you, but to talk. Today, India has not only taught this lesson to the nations of the world, but has given this message to every youth, every student, every conscious person. Respect is never asked for, respect is earned. So stand up, think, and promise yourself that just as India has not compromised on its sovereignty, you too will not trade your thinking, yourself, your dreams. Because a nation that bows its head, its economy also bows, its language also, and its future also. But a nation that stands up and says, we are no less than anyone. Then even the great powers of the world look at its feet. This is the new India. This is the decision of India. And this is the direction of the coming tomorrow, because India is showing you in real time that when you walk with integrity, when you walk with vision, the world follows your footsteps. And that's not just a diplomatic shift. It's a cultural revolution. It's a psychological awakening. The old mindset that said, let's wait for Western approval, has now transformed into a new voice that says, we define our own success. That's why when international headlines question India's decisions, India doesn't rush to explain. We let results speak. We let numbers speak. We let our quiet confidence shake the noisy arrogance of others. And those results, a digital economy that's empowering 1 billion people, a unified payments interface that the world now wants to copy, a space mission that reaches the moon's dark side, not to show off, but to show what's possible when ambition meets focus. This is not about nationalism. This is about self-belief. This is about breaking the chains of intellectual slavery and reminding the world. See, India doesn't need validation. It needs space to grow. And when that space is given, India doesn't just rise, it lifts others. Look at the global south. When others abandoned them in times of crisis, India extended its hand, not because we had excess, but because we had empathy. This is Indian diplomacy today, based not on pressure, but on partnership. We don't interfere in internal matters. We don't dictate how others must live. We ask only one thing, mutual respect. And when that respect is denied, India knows how to respond with silence more powerful than noise. Because we don't chase headlines, we chase outcomes. Today, when Western institutions issue biased reports on our democracy, we don't collapse. We counter them with democratic action, with record voter turnouts, with 1 billion voices speaking at the ballot box. Democracy in India is not a slogan, it's a civilizational habit. The world is changing fast. Geopolitical alliances are shifting. His new wars are starting, old empires are cracking. But India stands tall, not because we are perfect, but because we are grounded. Grounded in our history, rooted in our diversity, anchored in our values. When others pick sides between West and East, India picks stability. India picks dialogue. India picks peace. But not peace at the cost of self-respect. That's why we buy oil from Russia. That's why we trade with China while guarding our borders fiercely. That's why we talk to the US without letting them define our policies. And that's why when a Western superpower tries to isolate a nation, India asks, is this in the interest of the world or just the interest of one power? That's the courage of conviction. That's the new Indian DNA. We no longer fear the power game. We are not desperate to be included at someone else's table. We are building our own table. And trust me, those who once ignored India now wait for India to speak. Why? Because India speaks from moral clarity, not military dominance. From economic logic, not economic bullying. From cultural wisdom, not colonial residue. This is the soft power of India. Our movies, our yoga. Our food, our music, our language. They have traveled the world without firing a bullet. And now our ideas are doing the same. The idea that the global South must rise together. The idea that technology must empower, not enslave. The idea that partnerships must be horizontal, not vertical. India is not imposing these ideas. We are living them. And if you are an Indian youth today, this is your greatest moment. Because you're not just the child of a rising nation. You're the architect of it. You must not just consume information. You must question it. You must not just chase trends. You must create them. You must not just look for shortcuts. You must build the road itself. And in this new world, the power is not just with those who own weapons, but with those who own narratives. Control the story, and you control perception. Control perception, and you shape reality. That's why India's story must be told in our own voice, not borrowed accents. Not filtered through Western think tanks, but raw, real, powerful, just like our journey. This is your task now, to tell India's story, to live it, to build it, to prove that a civilization that has lasted thousands of years will not only survive the 21st century, it will lead it. And leadership doesn't begin in government. It begins in your mindset. The mindset that says, I will not compromise my dignity for comfort. I will not beg for opportunity. I will create it. I will not imitate the West. I will collaborate on equal terms. The world respects strength, not arrogance, not aggression, but silent, focused, unshakable strength. And that's what India is cultivating, brick by brick. Policy by policy, generation by generation, student by student. And yes, there will be pushback. Yes, there will be resistance. Yes, there will be misinformation, targeted attacks, economic blackmail. But we don't fold under pressure. We evolve through it. Because when your roots are deep, you don't fear the storm. You become the calm in it. Let others chase military alliances. Let others compete for headlines. India will compete in a different arena. Innovation, culture, diplomacy, resilience, and humanity. We will not be the power that conquers. We will be the power that inspires. And that's a different kind of supremacy, one that cannot be measured in GDP or missiles. It's measured in trust, in hope, in impact. And the message is clear: India is not coming to the world stage to ask for a seat. India is coming to reshape the stage itself. And those who still underestimate this movement, they do so at their own peril. Because the age of commanding from above is over. This is the age of rising from within. And India is showing the blueprint, quietly, firmly, fearlessly, and still write world-class code. Lead global negotiations or publish breakthrough research, because language is not a barrier. It is a bridge to your roots. And in today's world, identity is your asset, not a liability. The Western world told us for decades that to be successful, We must become like them, speak like them, dress like them, think like them. But India has shown we don't need to erase ourselves to rise. We rise as we are, and that authenticity is now our brand. Look around. Indian CEOs are leading trillion-dollar companies. Indian scientists are mapping the moon and Mars. Indian students are topping global academic charts. Indian ideas are influencing the world, from philosophy to fintech, and still we haven't abandoned our essence. We celebrate Diwali with algorithms. We chant mantras and write quantum code. We run temples and tech firms with the same discipline. Because this is not a contradiction. This is coexistence. And India is mastering it. The next stage of power is not colonialism. It's not capitalism. It is consciousness. And India is entering that space with an edge. A civilizational edge rooted in centuries of meditation. Reflection, pluralism, and inner balance. That's why when the world talks about mental health today, India doesn't follow trends. India reminds the world, we taught the art of silence before noise ever became a crisis. We taught balance before the world discovered burnout. And now it's our time, not just to preserve these ideas, but to scale them through apps, startups, global platforms, policymaking, education, to embed consciousness in commerce, to embed purpose in profits, to embed sustainability in success. This is the Indian future. Not a copy of the West, not a revenge story, but a new template for the world to follow. Because while the West grapples with cultural fatigue, India is witnessing cultural revival. While Western societies are dealing with declining birth rates, India is holding in its hands the most powerful youth force on the planet. And the question is, what will this youth do? Will you scroll endlessly or solve timeless problems? Will you seek likes or build legacy? Will you copy trends or set them? Because the battlefield of the future is not land or sea. It is data. It is values. It is the ability to protect your culture in the middle of global influence and still engage with the world without losing yourself. India has cracked that balance. We do not isolate ourselves like North Korea. We do not surrender ourselves like proxies. We walk alone, if needed. But when we walk, the world watches. Look at our tech stack. No country in the world has built digital public infrastructure at our scale. From Aadhaar to UPI to ONDC to Coin, these aren't just projects. They are declarations India will leapfrog. India will innovate for the masses, not the elite. India will not wait for Western venture capital to change lives. We'll do it ourselves. And when we succeed, we don't hoard it, we gift it. This is the Indian character. We don't weaponize food. We don't weaponize medicine. We don't weaponize technology. We share. And through sharing, we create influence more powerful than coercion. Because soft power doesn't just lie in movies and music. It lies in moral authority. And let's be clear, India's rise is not a threat to anyone, but it is a challenge to outdated hierarchies. To the belief that progress belongs only to the few, to the assumption that global governance must be dominated by the same 5 powers forever. No, the world is not flat, but it must be fair. And India is demanding that fairness through logic, not loudness, through diplomacy, not dependency, through strength, not submission. And this strength begins with self-awareness. Every student in India today must know you are not the victim of history. You are the author of tomorrow. Write like your words will be archived. Build like your code will last a century. Speak like the world is recording, because it is. India is no longer a silent observer. We are a loud participant, not in the noise of chaos, but in the sound of purpose. Our universities are evolving. Our media is transforming. Our diaspora is leading. Our armed forces are modernizing. Our culture is spreading organically, virally, unapologetically. And yes, will be mocked. Our accents, our politics, our beliefs, our temples, our food. But we must smile at that ridicule. Because behind that mockery is fear. Fear that a civilization that refused to die is now thriving. Fear that we cannot be boxed into stereotypes anymore. Fear that India is not following their script. We are writing our own. And what's the title of that script? The world's largest democracy. His, with the world's oldest soul, a soul that doesn't seek revenge, but recognition, a mind that doesn't seek control, but collaboration. His, a heart that doesn't seek dominance, but dignity. So rise, Indian youth, not with hashtags, but with habits, not with outrage. See, but with output, not with frustration, but with fierce clarity. Because the world is volatile, and volatility favors the bold. His India will be the stability in global chaos, the voice of reason in a time of extremes, the bridge between polarities, the anchor of sanity in an age of ideological madness. We are not here to pick sides in someone else's Cold War. His. We are here to prevent the next one. And if we do it right, India won't just be respected, India will be remembered. So now the path is clear. His India will not wait, India will not bow, India will not follow, India will lead, with vision in its eyes, fire in its heart, and peace in its hands. This nation will walk forward not for domination, but for destiny. And to every young Indian, the message is simple. You are the voice, the courage, the legacy, and the future. Stand tall, walk proud, because the world is watching. And history is waiting for India's moment to become the world's turning point. And that moment is now.